everyone, Lizzy here. Today I'm going to share an easy watercolor thank you card set. With the holidays approaching, I'm always in need of thank you cards and small hostess gifts, so I came up with this card design that can be easily used for fall or winter, depending on the time of year, with just a few tweaks in the color scheme. So the supplies that I'll be using are this Deck the Halls stamp set. I'll be using the branch as a tree. I'll also be using this thank you tag set, a couple of the thank you sentiments, and I'll be using the large rectangles, stitched rectangle dies. And for a finishing touch on the gift wrapping, I'll be using a leaf die and a snowflake die. So the other supplies that I'll be using are a mini mister just filled with water, and a paintbrush, a couple colors of fall and winter themed twinkling H2Os, and some Strathmore watercolor paper. I've already gone ahead and I've cut it into standard size cards, so we can go ahead and get started. So I'm just spritzing my twinkling H2Os with a little bit of water, and I'll let them sit. And I've listed the colors that I'll be using up at the top of the screen. So I've gone ahead and I've masked off a piece of that watercolor paper and just used some Post-it tape. And I'll be spreading the paint on and letting all the water do the work for me. So you can see it starts to fade and blend out the more water you use. And I'll start with the green, and then I'll go with that sort of brownish orange. And it all blends for you really easily. There's no effort involved at all, and it comes out looking really pretty, a nice gradient effect. And so the last color I'll be using is that sort of burnt orange, reddish color. And as soon as I'm happy with the blending, which takes no time at all, I can peel off those Post-its, and you have the perfect size rectangle underneath. Just beautiful. So I went ahead and I made all 4 of those fall themed colors, and now I'll move on to the winter themed colors. And again, I listed them at the top of the screen. So very same process as before, except I'll be using, of course, different colors. And then as I blend the colors, I'm going to leave an extra little bit of water sort of in the middle between the purple and the blue. And the water will blend itself and it will kind of move, and as it dries there'll be sort of a line right there between the blue and the purple. I thought it kind of looked like northern lights. You can start to see it as it's drying. But I thought it was kind of a neat look for this winter sky. So that's what I did for all 4 pieces. And you'll notice some of the Post-it, it was a little bit wet, so it stuck to the side. I'm just going to let that dry, and then that'll easily come off. So you can see all the card bases that I did, the 4 autumn themed and the 4 winter themed. And you can see I sort of made that color line on all of them where the water bled. And I think it just gives kind of a neat effect for that scene. So now I can go ahead and get started on stamping my trees. I'm going to mask off the bottom using just a piece of Post-it, and then I will be using some black archival ink with that branch stamp set. And I will just stamp it right on the side. And of course, the first one I stamped didn't stamp correctly. I thought I'd just go ahead and leave this in the video. I decided to use my Stamp-A-Majig to fix it, because I know whenever I just eyeball it, it never comes out right. So I worked so hard on the watercolor piece, I just thought I would go ahead and take the extra couple minutes to use the Stamp-A-Majig to fix it. So you can see it came out perfectly. So I definitely recommend you getting one of those tools if you didn't already have one in your craft supplies. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish stamping out the trees, and I did that for all of the autumn themed cards, and then I will move on to the winter themed cards. Alright, next up is stamping the sentiments. So I'll be using the thanks from the thank you tag set, and I'm just going to stamp the thank you at the bottom of the scene for the autumn cards, and I did that for all 4, and then I moved on and I used the kind of scripty thanks for the winter themed cards, just for a little bit of variation, and I did that for all of those cards. So now I'm going to be using this dotted line that is included in the Deck the Hall stamp set, and I'm just going to go around and create a border with that line just to help frame the scene. I think it just adds a little bit extra. You can definitely skip this step if you wanted to, but I thought it was a nice touch. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've stamped all the way around with the dots, and you can see it just gives a nice finishing frame to the little scene we created. And of course I did that with all 8 cards. But I edited it out so you guys wouldn't have to watch it all. So for one last finishing touch for the winter cards, I thought I would use this Copic Opaque White. It's kind of like a white acrylic paint, and make little dots on the scene. And I think they kind of look like stars or snow. I think it just adds a little bit of extra interest. And it was super quick to do, so definitely not too time consuming, but of course you could skip this step if you wanted to. Alright, so next I'm going to use one of the stitched rectangle dies to cut out the scene. I really love the stitched edge it creates. It really gives the simple scene a finished look. So to save some time, I assembled the cards off camera. I just used some foam tape to mount the card panel on a 4-bar sized card, which I think is the perfect size for a quick thank you note. And Lawn Fawn has some great 4-bar sized envelopes too that you could use to send these cards out in the mail. So now that the cards are assembled, we can package them up. And I went ahead and I die cut the scripty thanks die from some coordinating cardstock, and die cut both the snowflake and leaf from some watercolor paper. And off camera, I very quickly colored the die cuts using the same colors of twinkling H2Os that I used for the cards. So for the winter cards, I'll be using some silver lawn trimmings. I thought it coordinated nicely with the color scheme. And I'll use that to wrap it all up. And then I will string on the snowflake and the thanks die cut. And for the fall themed cards, I'll use some gold sparkle lawn trimmings, which I thought coordinated nicely with the colors. So here are the 2 thank you card sets together. I think this would be a lovely hostess gift for the holidays, or of course the cards could be used individually for whenever you might need to write a quick thank you note. I hope you enjoyed this video on making an easy watercolor thank you card set. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.